Okay, so in this video I'll show you how to subset data in R. So imagine you have read in some data. Now as an example I will use a data frame. Then you might want to do a subset of this data. Now there are several ways you can do this, and I'll try to explain some of the most used. Now the simplest way you can subset a data is to say I would like to select only, say, the rows containing dark-haired people. So we do write this as dark-haired. We could define this as d at hair equals to dark. Now notice that I put two equal signs here, the equality symbols here, and what this does is then that it evaluates whether this is true. So it will not work if you only put one. Now what do we get here? Well, we get a vector of true or false statements. So for each value in our hair variable vector, so that is this vector here, for each value, if this statement is true, then we will get a true. If this is not true, as in the case of the second value here, it will return false. Now we can use this to create a subset of our data by entering this dark-haired as a variable here. And there you have it, a subset of our dataset D containing only dark-haired persons. Now, you could also do a bit more elaborate subsetting, and for this, a very nice command to know is the which command. Now, you can use the which command to, in the same manner, to say that you might want all the dark-haired, dark-eyed peoples, and it will return a vector of all the values. It will return a vector of the numbers of the rows that contain dark-eyed persons. So this is not the dataset, but this is just the index of the rows containing dark-eyed persons. So we will have the first one here, and the third one, whereas the second one was light-eyed and therefore didn't show up here. And to get the actual dataset using the which command, we'll type d square brackets and which d at I equals dark. Now this might not seem to be that much easier than what we did before, but what you can do is that you can add additional conditions. So we'll use the AND symbol here, and this symbol as an AND statement, and condition on another factor. So say we only want persons that have dark eyes and are, say, under 25 years old. and this is then the corresponding subset. And you can add another, you could say, and they should also be right-handed. Now, as you can see, this is an example of using an AND statement, but you could also say that, well, they should either be dark-eyed, or they should have very large shoes. So this symbol here is called a pipe, and if you cannot find it on your keyboard, you may Google it. And as you can see, we have some dark-eyed persons here, and then we have one that is light-eyed, but apparently also has very large feet. Okay, now another way of subsetting data which can be even shorter or perhaps more intuitive is the subset command. Now, what the subset command does is that it takes a dataset. So we provide a dataset, in this case D, and then any number of conditions that we'd like. So this is actually a function where we input a dataset and then specify how it should subset the data. So say we like that our person should be female, then we write subset our dataset D, and we only want the ones where sex equals female. This is what we get. You can then, as when you're using the which command, you can also specify more conditions. So you could say that you would like only men with, let's say, light eyes. And there you have it, males with light eyes. So, and obviously you can also specify, as you did before, with values such as you only want very tall males. Sorry. So this is the basics of subsetting in R. I hope this has been very useful. I would like to just show you one last command, and as some of you might have noticed, then in this particular dataset we have a lot of missing values, and there's this function called na-omit, which is an inbuilt function in R that takes an object, typically a data frame, and omits all the missing values. So in this case, we'd define our dataset D as na-omit D. Now if we print our dataset again, you can see that all the missing values, or all the rows with the missing values, are now deleted from the dataset. Okay, that was it for now.